Good morning, everyone. Um, I'm here to provide a weather update because we have significant concerns for public safety for our citizens today. Today is going to be a dangerous weather day. There is a certainty of severe storms and significant wind gusts with possibilities of both flooding and tornadoes. It is of such concern that about an hour ago, I signed a state of emergency that allows us to pre-position assets across Kentucky to help if it's needed. For instance, we already have 400 plus National Guard assembled for training. They have been advised that we may well need them in the response to this storm. So thankfully, they will be ready. Our EOC, Emergency Operations Center, is now at level 2. That's an upgrade since this morning and should show the seriousness of what we expect. And there is already some reported flooding in Louisville. And listen, we are not to the main part of this show. This is just some rain this morning. I'm going to go through some weather slides to show what we are facing. One takeaway is that this is going to be a prolonged weather event today. And do not think that you're going to be okay right after the severe thunderstorms move through, because as you'll see, the severe wind gusts come after the thunderstorms. And with the level of the wind, will probably be more dangerous than the rain event itself. We have already lost way too many people due to flooding, tornadoes, and other weather events. So we want everybody to be safe today. Thankfully, a lot of school systems, including my kids, have already canceled today. I think that was a good decision. As you will see, the time especially they would have been let out would be really challenging. State government, we are closing our buildings to non-essential employees at 11 a.m. today to give people time to get home. So let's look at the weather forecast. This was as of about 9:30 when I got the last direct update. So this is a significant weather system that is going to move through the region today. Western Kentucky is already seeing some of it, but the most significant portions, and we'll show a full statewide map here in a minute, are going to be between noon and 5 p.m. So the main severe threats are for damaging winds, and we do think there is a real potential for isolated tornadoes. What you'll see when we move ahead here in a minute is we're going to have a fast-moving thunderstorm that may be moving at 70 miles an hour. And once that passes you, then we get winds that could be very risky, especially if you are out on the roads. Let's go to the next slide. All right, this gives you an idea of locally damaging winds as well as the corridor where we think we could see tornadoes. That is a lot of central Kentucky, including Bowling Green and even getting to South Central as far as Corbin and London, and certainly the Louisville, Frankfort, and Lexington area as well. When we look at the next one, the timing, we think it may move faster than what's up here, but this is to give people an idea of when they will see the most severe storms. Once again, the storm will move through and the wind comes afterwards. And these wind gusts will be enough to potentially move a tractor trailer driving on the interstate, which means they are dangerous road conditions. We certainly think we will see winds 55 miles an hour. I was told they thought they could get up to potentially 75 miles an hour. So people ought to expect that areas will lose power as well with this amount of rain and this amount of wind coming. We'll see trees uprooted. And so people should be prepared. Thankfully, it's not all that cold to potentially lose power. So make sure you have your kit in your house prepared with anything that you will need. Storm moves from the west to the east. It's kind of moving at a northeast. If you look at how the storms will come through with damaging winds. Again, that's the next slide. We can go to it. All right, we really want to focus on this slide because if you look at the confidence that we're going to have these gusty winds, it is high, which means the National Weather Service is pretty sure of this one. So sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour, which are already an issue, but with gusts of 55 to 65 miles per hour. That can cause real issues on the roadway, also trees, power, and other issues that we will see. And again, I want to repeat that the wind will really kick in after the storm moves through. And that's something that we are not quite used to. So I don't want people to have confidence that once the thunder stops and once the rain stops, that it's going to be safe, because it's not. Okay, this is where we currently have a tornado watch. This is in the west, but as you remember, that other slide we showed, a large part of Kentucky is going to have the possibilities of tornado watches. As of this morning, there are 60 tornado watches across the state. Isolated hail up to a quarter size is also possible. So we need people to really be attuned to the weather. Watch your local meteorologist, have your weather radio. We'd ask the media to provide as many updates as we can because the storm's moving so fast. All right, when you think about how quickly it's moving through, if there is a warning, you're not going to have a lot of time. So again, it's better if you are at home, but you have to be weather aware, really alert today. And when you hear that warning, don't wait. Go ahead and get to that safest place in your home. All right. Additionally, with all this, we are going to have heavy rainfall, which is the next one. It's going to continue on and off in the morning and into the afternoon hours. The heaviest rainfall totals are expected north of the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. We've already had a reported 2+ inches in a couple places in Kentucky. So a flood watch is in effect through Friday afternoon, this afternoon, across portions of southern Indiana and central Kentucky, and flash flooding will be possible with these storms. A couple other actions that we are taking. We have a team of meteorologists, transportation, and communication staff, as well as Kentucky State Police that are in the EOC right now. I was there this morning monitoring the storm and ready to respond. As we mentioned, the Kentucky National Guard is preemptively preparing. So after everything we've been through, I believe in being over-prepared. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Personnel Cabinet sent out guidance last night to state employees, to everybody who is able to telecommute and to work remotely is doing that today. Then earlier this morning, we notified that we were closing state office buildings at 11 a.m. to make sure our employees had time to get home. As mentioned, many school districts have closed for the day, so teachers, staff, and students can be safe. And we're also working on notifying our previous storm survivors in travel trailers. We've been communicating with them significantly. We have shelters set up for each of them. I think we have a slide of that. So especially knowing the trauma that all these folks have been through, we wanted to make sure that in counties that had been impacted, especially by tornadoes and flooding, that we had a shelter where people could preemptively go to if they so chose. I think everybody has a weather radio in every single one of the travel trailers, and we're even going door to door. If you're in an unsafe location, we urge you contact your local emergency management official and check those social media accounts or websites for local shelter options. As a reminder, don't call 911 for weather updates. 911 is reserved for emergencies, and if you're calling for weather updates, it might be preventing somebody who is in a very bad situation that needs help from getting through as quickly as they can. KSP requests that if you suspect that someone is stranded on the roadways, that you call them at 1-800-222-5555. 1-800-222-5555. Now I'm going to turn it over to Director of Kentucky Emergency Management to go over a few preparedness tips. Colonel Slinker.
Thank you, Governor. And Unfortunately, we're here talking about this today, but as many of you know and have covered this week, it's a severe weather awareness week. So we've worked on this all week. So now it's time to put those plans into action because we have this severe weather coming in that's been talked about. So that preparedness is going to pay off. So let's talk first. You could be stuck on the roadways. So just like in a snow or ice storm, let's have that emergency kit in your car. No different than when we're talking snow, ice, or some reason. Because as the governor mentioned, the high winds can get the uh, high center of gravity vehicles and overturn them. So a tractor and trailer turned over on the interstate would be no difference than a tractor and trailer jackknife and ice. So have those emergency kits handy, drinking water, first aid kits, cell phone chargers, blankets, tools, warning devices like flares or flashers that you can put on, and raincoat, gloves, and shovels. So just be aware that if you have to travel, monitor your whatever means are available to you. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's website, Waze, multiple other traffic apps. Find out if your roads are flooding. We have reports already in the Louisville metro area and have been confirmed that they've had some flash flooding across some of the main roadways. So be safe and never mention flash flooding without saying, turn around, don't drown. Remember, it takes a small amount of water to wash your car away. So be safe. If you encounter water over the roadway, don't risk it. Turn around, don't drown. Second, we've talked high winds, power outages, potential tornadoes. So remember, put that plan in place. What's your plan in your house, in your residence? What's that interior room or the basement where you're going to go? And what do you want to have in that room to help you stay safe or maybe stay there a while? As been mentioned in the weather, the winds are going to be around a while and it could cause power outages. So have water, food, snacks, batteries, flashlight, chargers, all those things that would you would need maybe in your shelter in place. Make sure you have those with you wherever you are sheltering. If your residence or where you're staying isn't an appropriate shelter, please find some of those shelters that have been identified and utilize those. And uh, just like the turnaround, don't drown, we mentioned power outages. Often, many people have generators and they'll use those. I'll never mention power outages or generators without saying do not put them indoors. That's where we lose people. So if you use a generator during a power outage, 8-10 feet outside of your residence where there's no chance of carbon monoxide poison. And that's what I have. Everybody be safe. We're going to stay on top of it all day and we'll continue updating everyone, including the governor, and we'll give you updates as needed. Thank you, sir.
I think only piece that I missed is that we also activated the price gouging statute to ensure that if we have a significant event that people can't be taken advantage of. So once again, folks, look, this is the weather is just going to be bad today. Tomorrow looks okay. So let's just be careful. Let's not take any unnecessary risks, and let's all get through it and get through it together. All right, we've got a number of journalists here. Start with Mark.
What are the plans for the power outages? Is the truck being like redeployed, and then what do you expect the turnaround to be for power getting turned back on?
So all of our utilities are well aware of what's coming, and we've been through all of it before. They typically will pre-position their own vehicles. Now, what happens when there's a significant outage is vehicles come in from all over and different places. It will depend on where and what that infrastructure is. And also will depend on whether or not we just have high winds or we end up having a tornado. And if we have a tornado, how significant it is. So hard to tell, but we will be providing updates on power outages as they come. You know, normally there are a couple around the state. I think there were 500 this morning, but that's not unusual when you're tracking. Some of that can be for routine maintenance and other reasons. Carolina.
Governor, the timing of the storm, it kind of feels like in some parts of the state where people are maybe preparing to travel back home after
Yes.
the workday or whatnot. Given the timing, what's the advice for people?
Our advice is you need to get off the roads, right? Either, if you're a non-essential employee in your business, you really need to get home before the timeline that's here. All right. If you're in Louisville or Lexington, I think you need to be home by noon to make sure that you're not out on the roads. And that's, we think about that in Frankfurt because so many people come from the area. Certainly the highest risk is in those two areas we showed of tornadoes and wind gusts. So I'd like every business out there to be really thoughtful. And also remember, a lot of people's kids are home because school was, I think, rightfully canceled in so many places. So be safe. And if you need to be at work until noon, don't automatically leave, right? When you would normally get off, check the weather before you go. It's worth hanging out another couple hours. If it means we can get through the worst of the wind gusts and you can be safe getting home. Also need to check the roadways before you get on them. If you travel by interstate, make sure that we don't have a backup before you get on that interstate. Again, even if it means you're going to get home late, your family would rather you get home safe. Anna.
Thank you, Governor. Question, have you heard updates from Muhammad Ali International, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky international airports about statuses there? Are they going to be shutting down? Are they just sort of playing it by ear at this point? And also, have you heard from municipalities outside of Frankfurt? I just got an email that Franklin County, they're shutting down their administrative offices right now in light of the emergency. So just checking for updates on that, what you've heard around the state.
No reports, just
All right.
other than mine.
It's a good question. We haven't gotten a report from either from any of our airports at this time. Josh. Good.
Thank you, Governor. Given these extreme events we've had in eastern and western Kentucky, could you kind of place, I guess, what we're seeing now in the context of that, if you can at all, and just how worried are you in general about this particular event?
Well, I'm worried about any weather event at this point. With everything we have lived through, these warnings are real that we're getting. I think every meteorologist is talking about the models and how concerning they could be. All right, this is something that could be a major weather event, and so we're preparing for it. But certainly, we don't expect anything on the level of Western Kentucky, which was an E4. That was on the ground the longest I think we've ever seen in U.S. history. The flooding, one in every 1,000 years that we would see. So we don't expect anything on par with those. But listen, I don't want to lose anybody else, right? And we can get the information out there. So everybody be safe. And if you want to prepare for it like it's the other ones, it'll make sure you're getting through it safer. Josh. Do we have? I have Josh Short on here. Oh, yeah.
Probably somebody Josh would say. Actually, that wasn't going to be my question. So actually, we're all
Okay.
good to go.
Any more? Okay. Tom Latek is on the line.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning to you. Looks like another long day for you there, feller. I've got two questions. You talk about pre-positioning. Your executive order allows you to pre-position some guard resources. Wonder if you could tell me what some of those are. And secondly, I have no idea what a level 2, level 1, level 3, level 80 activation of the EOC is. Can you mind explaining that
Right.
a little bit too?
So level 2 is a significant activation. It means that we have more people in the EOC, that we've called in people from transportation, from the Division of Water, Forestry, Kentucky State Police. I believe 1 is our highest.
Yes, that's federally supported.
Right. And so this is the highest level of the EOC before it is federally supported. Certainly we hit a 1 during both of those major natural disasters. So this being a 2 and it being recently upgraded to a 2 should tell you how seriously we are taking it. When we look at our deployment, this is actually we were fortunate that we had this many guard that were already training. And so that means they're already pre-positioned in certain parts of the state. We are in parts that those guard are not. We're working right now to have people ready. You know, when we saw the polar plunge and we saw I-71 backed up so many times, we want to make sure that we can get to people and that we are prepared, because like Colonel Slinker said, there's not a difference between a jackknife travel trailer from the polar plunge and a tractor trailer that tips and rolls on the roadway that's out there. All right. Any other questions? All right. We will provide updates right now. Primarily, we intend to by social media and press release. If we need another press conference, we will make sure that there are virtual options for anyone and everybody to participate. To the media, to everybody at home, please stay safe today. We know what's coming, and if you prepare, then we'll all get through it. Thank you.